In this video, we're going to take a look at how we browse the internet with Safari. There's actually quite a bit that you can do with Safari, so I have this broken up into different sections. The first section is how we basically get around Safari, how we can view a web page, how we work with tabs in Safari. From there, we're going to look at how we can browse our history and manage our bookmarks. And then we're going to look at how we can read articles with Safari. We have a reading list and a reader view. And then we're going to look at what I call Safari utilities, how we can share a web page, hide distracting items, things like that. Now, before we get started, if you like what you see here, stick around to the end. I'll tell you a little bit more about myself and how you can help support my efforts in creating these videos. All right, let's get back to Safari on the iPhone. In our first section here, what we're going to do is look at basic navigation, how we can show and hide the address bar, search within the address bar. We actually don't have to go to google.com to search. We're also going to look at how we can refresh the page, change the text size, open links, including how we can open them up in a contextual menu. And then we're going to look at tabs. Think of tabs as windows. What we're able to do is open up several web pages using tabs, and then we can easily switch between those tabs. All right, let's take a look at this first section, browsing the internet. Let's go over to my iPhone. So I'm looking at my iPhone here, and I'm going to open up Safari. Safari is the default application. It's an Apple app that allows you to browse the web. So let's go ahead and tap on it to open up. And it is my preferred browser. I don't use Chrome or anything else on the iPhone. I basically just use Safari. All right, let's open it up to see how this all works. I tap on it, and I'm looking at a web page here. Now, this is from Wikipedia, and it's on Steve Jobs. Not that that really matters, but we're going to see how the links work and everything else with this. But first, let's take a look at this interface. So I'm looking at this web page. This web page here is contained right in there. And when I swipe up, you're going to see I can view more of that web page. I swipe back down to get back to the top. Now, if we look, when I swipe up, what's going to happen is this address bar, which is located at the bottom, this address bar will disappear. What it's going to do is it's going to move down, and you're no longer going to see it. So I'm going to swipe up and watch this area in here. I swipe up, and we can see it disappears. So how can you get that address bar back? Well, basically all you need to do is just swipe back down. So I swipe back down, and you can see that it is back. So if you need to get to that address bar, all you have to do is just swipe down if you do not see it. All right, let's take a closer look at this address bar. This address bar is where you go and type in the web page that you want to go to. It's also where you can search. You don't have to go to google.com. You can just use this address bar here to search. So let's see how that works. I'm going to tap on it. So all I have to do is just tap in this area here, and when I do, the keyboard pops up, and I can type in a web page. So if I wanted to go to one of my favorite sites, Dan's Tutorials. Of course, I'm a little biased, but let's just go to Dan's Tutorials here. I start typing it in, and being that I've been there before, you're going to see that it pulls it up. I don't have to type in the entire name. If you've been there before and it's in your history, Safari will pull that out, and then you can easily just go to that site. Now, you could just keep typing on the keyboard, but if you want to go to the site, all you have to do is just tap on Go here, and it's going to go to that site. We can also see it up here at the top. So let's just tap on Go, and when I do, it goes to my site. I want to go to a different site. I tap on this area here. It brings up the keyboard, and you can type in another site. Now, in addition to that, this is also how we search. I don't have to actually go to google.com to search. By default, Safari uses Google as its search engine. So really all I have to do is just type in here what I'm searching for. So let's just go ahead and type in here Steve, and we're going to go with Wozniak. So I type in here Wozniak, and you're going to see that it is pulling up different suggestions. And if we look here, you're going to see that the suggestions are coming from Google. So again, I don't have to go to google.com. I can just go and type right in here. Now from here, what I can do is I can tap on any one of these to go to it, or what I could do is I could just tap on Go here, and it'll search for whatever is in here. So let's just go with Wikipedia. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go Wozniak, and then I just type in wiki, because I want the Wikipedia. And I just type in Go here. And when I do, it searches Google. And then the first result here is Steve Wozniak. I tap on that. And now I'm going to Wikipedia and I'm looking at that web page. So in addition to bringing us to a website directly, we also use this for search. All right, now when we're on a web page, what we're able to do is zoom in and out. Now I'm not talking about changing the text size. All I'm talking about is just zooming in and out. To zoom in and out, we just pinch. So I'm going to pinch here to zoom in, and we can zoom in. And then I pinch to zoom out, and it zooms out. Now right now, this is at its full page. So if I wanted to zoom out further, what this is going to do is it's going to take me to my tabs. And I'll talk about tabs in a little bit. But if I just pinch one more time, so I'm going to pinch to zoom in a little bit, you're going to see it brings me to my tabs. I only have one tab open. More on this in a little bit. But basically, you just tap on it to open it back up. I pinch to zoom in and out. Now, as you can see, this zooms in and out on the entire web page. Well, let's say I wanted to increase the size of the text. How can I do that without having it go off of the display? Well, in order to do that, we need to go to our page view options. Where is that? Well, it's in our address bar here, so we have to show the address bar. So if you don't see it, just swipe down until we see our address bar. And then what we do is we go over to this icon here. This is our page view options. And one of the options when we tap on it is to increase the text size. So now I just tap on the A's to make it larger. You can see it's down here, and I can see the effects on the web page. Right now it's back at 100%. I want to make it smaller. I can do that as well. So we just tap on those to make the text size larger. So it's not zooming into the page per se. What it's actually doing is changing the text size. Another thing that you may want to do is refresh the page. Maybe the page isn't fully loading. You go to a website and the page just stops loading. Well, in order to refresh the page to have it load again, all we need to do is just swipe down, and when we do, you're going to see a little icon up here. And that icon is telling that it is refreshing. So I'm going to swipe down here and look in this area right down here. Swipe down, and you can see there's a little circle there, and now it just refreshes. So I just swipe down, and it refreshes it. So if you're down towards the bottom of the page, and all of a sudden it stops loading, all you have to do is just go to the top, swipe down, and it reloads. Another way of doing this is by tapping on the refresh icon here. This is located in the address bar. So if you are down in the page a little bit and you want to refresh it, just swipe down a little bit to get that address bar to show. So I'm going to swipe down a little bit. I have my address bar here. And now all I have to do is just tap on this little icon here, and it'll refresh it. All right, let's take a look at how we open links. To open links, all we have to do is just tap on it. So if I wanted to open this link here, of course, we just tap on it and it opens it up. Now, Safari does have a contextual menu. If you're not familiar with contextual menus, this is what you see on a Mac and a PC when you right-click on a mouse. Or on the Mac, you control-click on it. You get a little menu that pops up underneath the cursor. Well, we have the same thing on the iPhone. Basically, all I have to do is just long press on it. So I'm going to long press on this article here, or this link here. And when I long press on it, I get a contextual menu. Now with Safari, this contextual menu shows me a preview of that web page. I can also just tap on open and it'll open it up. It's just like tapping on the link. And then I have another option here where I can open it up in the background. Now what does this mean? Well, basically what this is going to do is this is going to open it up as another tab in the background. So now let's talk about tabs a little bit. You may be familiar with tabs when you're talking about browsing on the PC or the Mac. What you're able to do is have several browser windows open, or I should say a window can have several tabs. Let's go over to my Mac and see how this works. So I'm looking at my Mac here. I'm going to open up Safari. I tap on it, I have a new browser window. Let's go to Wikipedia again. We're just going to go to the same web page or the same website, I should say. I'm going to go to English here. So I'm looking at Wikipedia. Now, right now, this is one window, one tab. And what I'm able to do is tap on the little plus over here. And then when I do that, what it does is it adds another tab. So you can see that I'm still in one window here, but I have multiple tabs. Let's go ahead and add another one. We're going to add a few more in here. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tabs. And each one of these tabs can be opened to a different web page. So I can go to Yahoo here. This one can go to CNN. I'm just clicking on these. Let's go to Apple News here. We'll go to Apple, and let's go to Dan's Tutorials. So now each one of these tabs here are open to a different website. And to go to a different tab, I just click on the tab. So that's basically how tabs work on the PC. It works the same way on a Mac or a PC. It doesn't really matter what browser you're in. They basically all work kind of the same way. It's one window with multiple tabs. So now, how does this work on the iPhone? Well, let's go back over to my iPhone and see how this can work. I'm going to go to my iPhone here. And now what I would like to do is open up a window in a new tab, or even just open up a new tab. Well, in order to do that, all we have to do is, let's just go ahead and open up a new tab, like what I did on my Mac. I go to the little tab button here. And when I tap on that, what I'm able to see are all of my open tabs. Now, right now, I just have one window open. But what you're going to see here is a little plus here in the lower left-hand corner. And when I tap on that, look what it does. Just like on the Mac, it opens up a new window and it's a new tab. So now, what do you think you're going to see when you go to this little tab button here? I'm going to see 2 tabs. 1, 2. So now, let's just go ahead and add another tab. I tap on the plus, and now I have 3. So when I go over here, you're going to see 1, 2, and 3. And I tap on any one of those to open it up. So let's just go ahead and tap on this one here. And now if I want to go to CNN, I tap on CNN, and I'm looking at CNN. I want to go to one of my other tabs. I tap on this, and I can go to another tab. So let's just open up this one to Yahoo. Tap on it. We go over to Yahoo, and now I have those 3 tabs open to different web pages. Now it's kind of clunky to go down here, tap on it, and then go to another tab. It's a few different steps. I mean, it's not difficult, but it's kind of clunky. I want to go to another page. I have to go down here, and then I have to tap on another page. There's an easier way to switch between your open tabs. So I have 3 tabs here. All I have to do is just go to the address bar here and swipe back and forth. And when I do, what it's going to do is it's going to switch between those tabs. Think of those other tabs as open right here. So if I had 5 different tabs open, basically when I swipe back and forth here, what it's going to do is it's going to change between those. All 3 or all 4 of these, 5 of these are going to move. A little bit of a scribbly mess there, but I think you'll get the idea. So now I'm just going to swipe back and forth here and watch what happens. It's just going between those tabs. So I just have those 3 tabs, and we can see it's just going between those. So all you have to do to switch between your open tabs is just go and swipe there on the address bar. I'll also show you how you can easily open up links in a new tab. This is one of my favorite tricks. So let's just say, I'm going to go back over to Wikipedia, and let's just say that I wanted to open up this page here in a new tab. How can I do that? I don't want to have to copy the link, open up a new tab, and then paste it. It's kind of clunky. Well, all we have to do is just go back to our contextual menu. So I long press on it. And when I do, instead of tapping on open, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is I want to tap on open in background. What this is going to do is open up this page, the link, in the background. It's going to open up as a new tab in the background. So instead of having 3 tabs open, I'm going to have 4 tabs open. So let's go ahead and do that. tap on Open in Background, and it just opened it up in the background. Let's go and do that one more time. We're going to get up to 5 tabs. So I'm going to go to this link here and long press, and then we go to Open in Background, and it opened it up in the background. So now I have 5 pages, right? Well, let's just double check that. We go over to my tabs and look what we have. 5 pages. They open them up in the background. So here they are. These are the 2 new ones here. So now I can tap on any one of them. And again, if I want to switch between them, remember, I have all 5 of these sitting right here. And I'm able to go back and forth between them by just swiping. So I swipe, and I can go between my open tabs. So if you want to open something up in a new tab, just long press, open in background, and then you can just swipe to go to that page. That's generally how I browse around with Safari. I use those tabs, and then I'm able to move between them just by swiping on the address bar. Now, what about closing tabs? How can you close these windows, these tabs? Well, basically, all you have to do is just go to all your open tabs. A couple ways to do this. Go to all your open tabs, and then you're going to see a little X here in the corner of each tab. I tap on that X to close it. So let's just go ahead and tap on this one here, and it closes that tab. So now I tap on this X here. We now have 4 tabs. I mentioned that there was another way to do that. Well, what you're able to do, I'm going to tap on Done here. Also, what you're able to do is long press on this, and then when you long press on it, you can close all your open tabs. And don't be surprised if you see tens and maybe even hundreds of tabs that you can close here. So this is an easy way of closing all of your tabs. Now let's take a look at a private window. How can you open up a page in a private window? Well, in order to do that, basically what you have to do is open up a new private tab. That's what they're called in Safari, a private tab. So if I wanted to open up a new private tab here, just tap on the little icon here to get to my tabs, and then you're going to see private here. I tap on that, and now when I go to Done, I'm in a private window. It's like incognito in Chrome. We can see it changes the color. It has a little darker color, so I know that I'm in a private window. To go back to being just a standard window, I tap on this, and now I go over here to my 4 tabs, and I'm looking at my 4 tabs. There is a shortcut for this as well. You can long press on this, and when you long press on it, you're going to see the option to create a new private, a new private tab. I tap on that and it'll create a new private tab. So that's the basics of how we browse around the internet with Safari. Now let's take a look at how we can browse our history and manage our bookmarks. Let's go back over to my iPhone. Now the first thing we're going to do is take a look at history. How we can manage our history, how we can see what pages we viewed, and how we can move between those different pages. Tap on these 2 buttons down here to move back and forth between your history. So if I wanted to go back, I tap on the left arrow, and it brings me back. I tap on it again, it takes me back to the previous page. I want to go forward, I tap on this arrow here, it takes me forward, I tap on it again, it goes forward again. In addition to that, we can also long press on these. So when I long press on this one here, I get a little menu that pops up, and then from here I'm able to select what page I want to go to in my history. So let's just go back a little bit. We're going to go to this page here. And let's go back one more. I'm going to tap on this one here. We can also see our history going forward, if that makes sense. But basically, if I long press on this one, what it's going to do is it's going to show me all of the pages going forward. So in addition to going back and forth one page at a time, we can also just long press on these 2 buttons right down here to see our history, to view more of our history. Now, in addition to that, Safari on the iPhone also has a special place where we can view all of our history and even search for it. To do that, what we do is we go over here to this book. When I tap on this book, what I need to do is I need to go to this little area here, the clock. When I tap on that, what it does is it shows me all of my history. So here's all of my history. And what I'm able to do is swipe up to go back in time. And what it'll do is it'll even categorize them by day. So if you wanted to go and find a page from a specific day that you visited, you can do that as well. You just tap on the day. So let's just go with Wednesday here. And when I tap on it, I can see all of the pages that I visited that day. Tap on any one of these to open it up in Safari. Well, what about search? How can we search? Well, the search is actually hidden. What I need to do is I just need to swipe down here. We don't want to get rid of this card here. So what I have to do is I just have to swipe down in this little area here. So when I swipe down to get to the top of that, watch what happens when I get to the very top. I have search. So in some cases, what you may need to do is just swipe down to get to this search. I tap in here, keyboard comes up, and now what it'll do is it'll search my history. It's not going to search the internet, it's not going to search a web page, it's going to search my history. To clear a page from your history, just swipe to the left on a page. So I swipe to the left, and you're going to see that as I swipe, it removes that page from history. If you wanted to remove all of it, then what you do is you go back to your history here, and you're going to see clear. If I tap on clear, what it's going to do is it's going to allow me to clear all of the history. And then our last option here is edit. When I tap on edit, I can also select multiple pages at the same time. So let's just say I wanted to remove those. I have those two selected, and now I tap on delete, and it'll remove those two pages. So in addition to removing single pages, we can also select what pages we want to remove, and we can just clear them all. So that's how we can view our history with Safari. Now let's take a look at bookmarks. Bookmarks, as you probably know, are how we can save our pages that we want to visit on a regular basis. We save them as a bookmark. So in order to save a page as a bookmark, let's say I wanted to save this page here as a bookmark, my site. What I do is I tap on the share icon. I'm going to share this as a bookmark. So I tap on it, and then you're going to see when you swipe up, add bookmark. And that's all I have to do. So now I just tap on add bookmark. I name it what I want, and then from here I save it where I want. I don't want this in shopping favorites, so I tap on that, and then I can select what folder I want to put it in. I'll show you how you create folders here shortly. So I want to save this as a favorite, so I tap on favorites, and now what it's going to do is it's going to save it in my favorites. I tap on save, and that bookmark is in my favorites. Let's go and save one more. So I'm going to use my little trick here to change to a different tab. I just swipe over to the left, and let's go with this page here. I'd like to bookmark this. Tap on the share icon, swipe up, add bookmark. I tap on where I want to save it to. We're just going to leave it in favorites. I can rename it here if I want. I tap on save, and it saves it. So now I've just saved a couple of bookmarks. Where did it save those to? Where can I manage these folders? Where can I see these folders? How can I pull up this bookmark? Well, in order to view your bookmarks, what you do is you go back over to this book where we had our history. I tap on it. And now what we need to do is we need to go to the Bookmarks tab. When I tap on that, I can view all of my bookmarks. So here are all the different folders that I have. Remember those two pages that I added? I added them to favorites. More on favorites in a little bit. I tap on favorites, and now you're going to see I have those pages there. So we can see that Dance Tutorials is here, and I also have Yahoo. Those are the last two that I added. I tap on it to open it up. So if you want to browse around your bookmarks, all you have to do, I'm going to close this here, all you have to do is just tap on this, make sure you're looking at your bookmarks, and then from here you can tap on any one of these folders to open it up and then open up a bookmark from that folder. All right, so that's how we can save a bookmark and open it. All right, so now that we know how to add a bookmark, we know how we can find those bookmarks, what about managing these bookmarks? Maybe what I'd like to do is remove a bookmark, or I want to move it to a different folder, or even create a new folder to put that bookmark in. How can I do that? Well, basically what we need to do is we need to go back over to our bookmarks. So I'm going to tap on my bookmarks here. And then from here, what I do is I tap on Edit. Now, when I tap on Edit, what it's going to allow me to do is edit these folders here. So I tap on Edit, and you're going to see I'm able to remove a folder here. If I remove a folder, it's going to remove all of the bookmarks in that folder. So how can I manage or edit the bookmarks within a folder? Well, what I have to do is I have to first open up that folder. So I'm going to tap on Done here. We're not going to make any changes. And let's just go over to Shopping Favorites. Let's see what I have in there. So I have 3 pages in there. I would like to edit these. Maybe I want to remove one. Well, then what I do is I tap on Edit now that I'm in that folder, and I can edit that folder. So from here I can remove it. I can tap on any one of them to rename it. And then I can also rearrange them by dragging these around. If I want to move it to a different folder, I can do that as well. I tap on it, and then you're going to see where the location is. I tap on that, and I can change the location. So basically what we need to do is we need to go to the folder where our bookmark is that we want to edit. So if I wanted to edit these bookmarks here, what do? Tap on it and go to Edit. And I can edit that. I can remove it. I can change the name. I can change the location. I want to edit. Let's go back here a little bit. I want to edit Work Favorites. Tap on it. Tap on Edit. And now I can remove those. I can rearrange them. And if I want to rename it, I tap on it. I can rename it. And if I want to move this bookmark, I tap on the location. So that's basically how we can manage the bookmarks. Now, let's say we wanted to create a new folder. How can I do that? Well, the first thing that we need to do is we need to go to where we want to create a new folder in. So I'm at the root folder here. So this is where all of my folders are. I want to add a new folder in here. What I do is I tap on Edit, and then I'm able to create a new folder. If I wanted to create a new folder in a folder, so I wanted to nest one. So let's say I wanted to add a folder in troubleshooting. I tap on troubleshooting. Now I go to Edit, and when I tap on Edit, I'm able to add a new folder in there. Once I add that new folder, what I'm able to do when I tap on a bookmark, I'm able to change it to that new folder. So it's a little bit clunky on the iPhone, but once you see how it all works, it's really not too bad. We first have to go to the folder that we want to edit, and then from there we're able to make changes to it. Now let's take a look at a special folder here. We have a special folder called Favorites. What is this Favorites? Well, if you're not familiar with Safari's start page, I'm going to close this, and we're just going to go and create a new page. So I'm going to go tap on this tab bar, I'm going to tap on the plus, and it creates a new blank page. When you create a new blank page, what it does is it opens up to Safari's start page. And within Safari's start page, by default, you're going to see we have favorites. These are all of the websites within that favorites folder. So remember how I added dance tutorials? That's why it shows here, because I added it to my favorites. Well, I had more in there. I had Yahoo as well. Well, if I go to show all, what it's going to do is it's going to show me Yahoo here. It's going to show me all the bookmarks within that favorites folder. So the favorites folder is a special folder that shows on your start page. So if you access a website on a regular basis, what you may want to do is put it into that favorites folder. And how do we do that? Well, basically we just go to manage our bookmarks here. It's just a folder. You're going to see I have favorites here. And now what I'm able to do is remove these, change them around, add new ones. So I don't want to have Yahoo. I just want to take that one out. All I have to do is just tap on edit here, or what I can do is I can just swipe to the left, and when I do, it removes that bookmark. Let's go and remove one more. We're just going to remove mine. Not that I really want you to, but let's just say I no longer need that. I just swipe to the left, and then it'll remove that. So now that I've removed those from the favorites, if we look, you're going to see that when I'm looking at my start page here, I no longer have Dan's Tutorials, and I no longer have Yahoo. If I were to add one here, let's just go and add a site. So I'm going to go to Wiki. I access that site quite a bit. I want to add this as a favorite in my bookmark. Tap on Share. Swipe up. Add bookmark. And then from here, I make sure it's in favorites. But you may have noticed something there. In my Share icon, remember this is a special folder. In my Share sheet, I should say this is not my Share icon. I got to it by tapping on the Share icon. There was, or is, Add to Favorites. All I have to do is just tap on that, and it'll add it to my favorites. So I tap on Save, and now when we go back to my start page, you're going to see I have Wikipedia here. And if I look at my bookmarks, we're looking at my favorites, you're going to see I have Wikipedia here. So even though favorites is just a bookmarks folder, it is just a little bit more. Basically what it does is it takes all those websites that you have in your favorite bookmarks and it adds them to your start page. And then also what you're able to do is easily save a website in your favorites folder just by going to the share sheet. So that's what your favorites are. So that's basically how we can browse our history and manage our bookmarks in Safari on the iPhone. All right, so now that we know how to browse the internet, we know how to browse our history as well as manage our bookmarks. Now let's take a look at how we can make articles a little bit easier to read in Safari. We have a reading list and we also have a reader view. Let's go back over to my iPhone and take a look at how we can make articles a little bit easier to read in Safari on the iPhone. Let's first take a look at the reading list. This is like a temporary bookmark. When we go and add a bookmark, let's say I wanted to add this as a bookmark. So I tap on it, and then we go down here to Share, and then from here I can add it as a bookmark. When I do that, what it does is it saves it permanently within my bookmarks. So once I read it, it's still going to be in my bookmarks. It's not going to remove it. Well, the reading list is like a temporary bookmark. So basically what it'll do is it'll add it to the reading list, but then once you read it from the reading list, it'll remove it from that reading list. So it'll remove it automatically because you've already read the article. So it doesn't necessarily save it permanently. So essentially what you're able to do is go through a website and select which articles you want to read, add them to the reading list, and then you can go to that reading list at a later date and read all those articles. And it doesn't have to be from one website, it could be from multiple websites. So, as an example, let's say I wanted to add this to my reading list. All I have to do is just tap on the share icon, and then I just swipe up a little bit to get to Add to Reading List. I tap on it, and it'll add it to that reading list. Let's go and add a couple more. So I'm going to go back. And let's just go with this one here. I want to add that to my reading list. I'll show you a little shortcut. Remember how we have a contextual menu, or maybe you don't know that we have a contextual menu? You long press on this link, and when I do, I get a contextual menu that pops up, and one of the options here is Add to Reading List. Maybe a little hard to get to, so you just swipe up a little bit, and then you can tap on Add to Reading List, and it'll add that to the reading list. Let's go to a different website. I'm just going to swipe to go to a different tab. So I just swipe down there. I'm looking at Wikipedia here. What I would like to do is bookmark that, or actually add it to my reading list. I'm not going to bookmark it. I'm going to add it to the reading list. So I just long press on it, swipe up a little bit, add to reading list. And let's just go with one more. We're going to go with this one here, long press, Add to Reading List. So now we've just added those articles to my reading list. Now what I would like to do is I would like to read this. Well, all we have to do is just go over to our little book here. This is where we can find our history and our bookmarks. But in addition to that, when we go in the middle tab here, we have our reading list. So the last article I looked at was on prostate cancer. I swipe up. These are the two articles that I added earlier. So now if I want to read these, all I have to do is just tap on it. So I just tap on this one here. And the nice thing about this is this reading list will sync across all your different devices. So you can go to your iPad or your Mac and then find the same reading list. All right, so let's just go ahead and tap on this and see how we read it. So I tap on it, it opens it up, and now I can read that article. So I just swipe up until I read it. Now this is the beauty of the reading list. First of all, it stores it offline. I just recently used this on a trip. I was on the airplane and it didn't have any Wi-Fi. I went with a low budget airline and I couldn't get on Wi-Fi. So how did I read my reading list? Well, when you go into the reading list here, when you tap on the reading list, it does store it on the device. So you don't have to worry about being on the internet. It stores it on device. All right, so I just go down to the bottom. I'm reading this article. And now when I get down to the very bottom, what you're going to see is up next. All I have to do is just swipe up, continue to swipe up, and it takes me to the next article. So again, I can read this article here, and when I am done, you're going to see it's going to go to my next article, the one from CNN. So now I just swipe up, try it again, might have to do that a couple times. Now I'm looking at that article. So you can easily go through and read all of your articles in the reading list just by swiping there. Now remember how I mentioned it's a temporary bookmark? It removes it once you've read it. So I've read those 3 articles, right? So now let's go back over to my reading list. So I'm going to swipe down here, and what we're going to do is tap on the little book icon here. And when I do, you're going to see that I only have 1 CNN article. Remember, I added 2 CNN articles, so this is one of them that I added because I haven't read it. But the other one I did read, and I had those 2 Wikipedia articles. They are no longer in here. So it's just removing them as I read them. Now, what we're able to do is view all of our pages. So if I wanted to see all those, I could do that as well. I tap on Show All, and there's all the articles again. So you could go and view all of the articles if you want. When you do that, you're going to see that this changes to Show Unread. Now I just want to see my unread articles. I tap on that, and now it's back to my unread articles. So I can tap on this, and then when I get to the bottom, what it'll do is it'll go to this one, and when I get to the bottom, it'll go to this one here. And what it'll also do is remove these as I'm reading them. You can also search your reading list. To do that, what you do is you just go up to the top here, and if you don't see that, sometimes what you may need to do is just swipe down a little bit. Sometimes that is hidden, but you can search your reading list here. And then if you want to edit it, you can do that as well. You tap on Edit, and then from here you're able to select which ones you want to remove, and you can remove them permanently from your reading list. So as you can see, it's almost like a bookmark, but I call it a temporary bookmark folder. When you add something to the reading list, it'll put it in here temporarily. It'll stay there until you read it. Once you read it, what it'll do is it'll remove it. And then, of course, you can go back and see it by tapping on Show All. But basically what you're able to do is just scroll through your iPhone and read those articles. So that's the reading list. Let's take a look at another feature on the iPhone with Safari that can help make reading articles easier. We have Reader View. So when I'm looking at an article, let's just go to this article here. I tap on it. And you can see it has ads in there. It's a little clunky to read. What I would like to do is make this a little bit easier to read. I want to strip all that out. Well, that's what Reader View does. It strips all of that out and makes things a little bit easier to read. This only works on articles, and it doesn't work on every article. But for the most part, when you're reading an article, so if you go to the CNN's homepage, it's not going to work. But if you go to an article within CNN, it will work. So I'm on an article within CNN. I want to read this in Reader View. The way that I do that is I need to show the address bar here, so I don't see it. So what do? I just swipe down a little bit, and I have my address bar. And then from here, all I have to do is just long press on this little icon here. When I long press on it, just tap and hold for a little bit. What it's going to do is it's going to put this article into Reader View. And now we can see it took out all of those ads. It makes it a lot easier to read. I'm even able to make changes to this. I can change the text size. I can go and change the background. To do that, what we do is we just tap on this here. And when I do, I'm able to change the background. I'm able to change the font. I can go and change the text size. To go back to the standard view, I can tap on Hide Reader. Or when you're in Reader View, I'm going to long press on this again. When I'm in Reader View, I can also just long press on this, and then what it'll do is it'll take it out of Reader View. Reader View does work with Reading List. So I'm going to go back into Reader View. And remember how when you swipe up and you go to the very bottom here, when you're in the Reading List, you can go to the next article. Look what shows here. I can go to the next article. So now I just swipe up, and I'm looking at the next article in Reader View. The last thing I want to show you with reading is we can have articles open up in Reader View automatically based on the website. So with CNN, what I would like to do is I would like to have all of the articles. When I go to an article, I want it to open up in Reader View automatically. But if I'm at my site, Dan's Tutorials, I don't want it to do that. So what we do is we go to the site that we want to open up an article in Reader View in. So I'm on CNN here. I'm just going to long press on this to go back into regular mode. And what I would like to do is whenever I'm in an article with CNN, I want it to open up in Reader View. Well, instead of long pressing on this, all I have to do is just tap on it. So just do a single tap. I do a single tap. I get to my page view options. And then from here, what we do is we go to the More. When we tap on More, what we have at the very bottom here are some options for this website. You're going to see it says Website Settings for CNN.com. So anything that I change in this area here is only for CNN. It's not going to be for anything else. So you're going to see one of the options here is Use Reader Automatically. So now I tap on that, and when I open up an article, when I'm in CNN, it's going to open up in Reader View automatically. But if I'm at Yahoo or any other site, it will not do that. So let's see how that works. I'm going to go out of here, and we're going to go back out of Reader View. I'm just going to go back to the main page. You can see it's automatically opening up these articles in Reader View as I'm going back. I'm just tapping on the little history button here. So let's just go to CNN. And now what I want to do is I want to look at this article here. I tap on it, and what is it going to do? It's going to open it up in Reader View automatically. Now, if you want to view the page in regular view, you can do that. Just go to this little icon here and long press on it. It doesn't make it permanent. You can go back and open it up in regular view as well. But if I were to go to Yahoo and open up an article, it would not do that. So if I was at Yahoo, what I would do, if I wanted those pages to open up in Reader View, I go to Yahoo, and now I'm on Yahoo. I tap on that. I don't long press on it. I tap on it. We go to the three dots. I swipe up, and I want Yahoo to use Reader automatically. So now I just tap on the little slider, and when I go to an article, so I'm not looking at an article here, so if I were to refresh this, it's still not going to go into Reader View. But when I open up an article, watch what happens. I'm going to go to this article here, and watch what happens. It opens up in Reader View. So that's how we can make articles a little bit easier to read and manage our reading list in Safari on the iPhone. Now in this last section, what we're going to do is take a look at what I call Safari utilities. How we can share a web page, hide distracting items, new in iOS 18. How we can translate websites, search a web page, not search the website, but actually how we can search a web page. And then also how we can customize our startup page and how we can change the search engine. These are what I would call utilities. Let's take a look at these utilities in Safari on the iPhone. Let's go back over to my iPhone. The first thing we're going to look at is how we can share a web page. So I'm going to open up Safari here. and I'm looking at, let's just go with one of my favorite sites, Dan's Tutorials. And let's say I wanted to share this with someone. How can I do that? Well, basically all you have to do is just go down to the share icon. And when you tap on that, you're going to have the option to share it here. Just tap on what app you want to share it with. It could be messages. You could put it into a note. If you wanted to mail it to someone, you just swipe over until you find mail, and then you tap on that, and you can share that link. What Safari will do is it'll copy that link, the page that you're on, in this case here, Dan's Tutorials. What it'll do is it'll copy that, and then it'll send it to someone. So if I go over here to Messages, it'll just copy it, and then you can go send a message to someone with that link. Now, if you want to copy the link and put it into a different app, maybe the app isn't showing up here. Even if you tap on more, you can see more apps when you tap on that. You can also just copy the link. So you're going to see copy here. All I have to do is just tap on that, and it'll copy that link into the clipboard, and then I can paste it into a note or anything else. So that's how we can share a web page. Now let's take a look at how we can hide distracting items. This was introduced with iOS 18. So I'm back on my site here, and I have this AI assistant. Well, this could be a distracting item. Maybe you don't want to see it there. So what you would like to do is you would like to hide it. How can you do that? Well, it's pretty easy to do with iOS 18 and later. Basically, what we need to do is we need to go to our page view options here. So I tap on that in the address bar. And then you're going to see the option to hide distracting items. I tap on that. It puts Safari into a special mode. And now what I do is I tap on the items that I want to hide. So in this case here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap on this here. And when I do, you're going to see it says hide. So now I tap on hide. So you have to tap on it to select it. And then what you do is you tap on hide, and it'll hide that. Now the last step is you need to get out of this. It's in a special mode. So now what I need to do is I need to tap on done, and now that is hidden. I can even refresh the page. I tap on this to refresh it, and you're going to see that it doesn't appear again. Where else can you use this? Well, that Google login that we're starting to see on more and more websites. What we're able to do is hide that. That's a distracting item. So when you see that on a website, just go over here to the page icon, put it into that hide distracting mode, hide distracting items mode, and then tap on that Google login. And then once you hide it, it will no longer show on that web page. Now, if you want it to show again, you can do that. You're going to see I have here show hidden items. So maybe I do want to use that AI assistant on my site, the one that I hid. I just tap on show hidden items, and we can see it is shown here. I have to go through the steps again to hide it, so I would just tap on that to go and hide it. So that's how we can hide distracting items. Again, new in iOS 18. So if you're using an older version of iOS, you're not going to see that option. We can also translate sites. Now, the first step to translating a site, well, I'll show you where it is, and then I'll show you how we have to set it up. So when I go back over to this page view option, you're going to see I have the option to translate the site. And when I tap on that, I'm able to select what language I want to translate it to. But before you see this, you first have to go and add that language. So how do we do that? Well, what we have to do is we have to go to our settings. So I'm going to swipe up, and then we go over here to settings. Under settings, what we do is we go to General, and then under General, you're going to see language and region. We have to add those languages that we want to translate to. So now I tap on language and region. I go and add the language that I want. And then once I add those languages, I'm going to be able to choose them. So in my case here, I'm able to choose to translate it into Spanish and French. So now let's go back over to Safari. So now that we have that set up, I'm going to go to Safari here. I tap on this. Being that I have those two languages added, when I tap on Translate Website, I can select which one. We're going to go with Spanish. And now it is translating that into Spanish. To bring it back to your primary language, in my case English, I tap on that little icon again, and then you're going to see View Original. When I tap on that, it brings it back to English, my primary language. Another nice utility or tool that I like to tell people about is how we can search a web page. We're not talking about searching a website, we're talking about searching a web page. Now, where I will generally use this is on a Wikipedia page. So let's go over here to Wikipedia, and let's just go with this link here. And let's say I wanted to search for something. I want to search for PSA. That's something to do with prostate cancer. So now what I do, if I want to search this web page, not the web itself, I'm searching this web page here, what I do is I go to this little page view icon again, and then we go to this icon right here. When I tap on that, what it allows me to do is search this web page. So now what I'm able to do is search for PSA, and you're going to see it shows me where it is in there. It also tells me how many instances, and I can go to the next instance. So there are 4 instances where it mentions PSA, and if I wanted to go back and forth, I tap on those. We can also do this when our iPhone is in reader view. I'm going to tap on Done here, and we're going to go into reader view. I long press on this to put it into reader view, and again, when I tap on this, it's in reader view. When I tap on that, I'm able to search the web page. So that's how we can search a web page. So you're looking at a long article, you want to look for something within that article, this is how you can do it. What about changing the search engine? By default, Apple puts it to Google. Maybe you don't want to use Google as a search engine. Well, the way that we do that is through the Settings app. So I'm going to go up to the Settings app. So I swipe up to get my home screen. We go over here to Settings. And then what I need to do is go to all of my settings here. I'm using iOS 18. So now at the bottom, new in iOS 18, they have a new tab. There are a new option that says Apps. I tap on Apps. And now I need to go to Safari. So I tap on the S, and then we go to Safari. So we're looking for the settings for Safari. I tap on it. We have all the different settings for Safari. And one of them here is search engine. And by default, it is set for Google. So now I tap on that, and I can go and change it to a different search engine. We can also set it to use a different search engine when we're private browsing. So if you open up a new private tab, I tap on this to turn that off, and now I can set what engine I want to use for private tabs. So we can have a separate search engine for private tabs as well as our regular tabs. The last thing I want to mention is the startup page. When you go to Safari, I'm going to go back over to Safari here, and you open up a new tab. So I'm going to tap on this here, and we go and open up a new tab. When we open up a new tab, what it does is it opens up to not a specific website. It opens up to the start page. And the start page here shows us our favorites. So these are our favorite bookmarks. It's a special folder within Bookmarks. I can also see the privacy report. I have my reading list. And then if I swipe up, I can also see what's on my other devices. I would tap on, turn on, and now it's going to show me all of my tabs from my other devices. So this is the startup page. It's basically a blank web page. Well, what we're able to do is we're able to customize this. I can remove different things from here. I can even move them around. So how do we do that? Well, basically, we just swipe up till we get to the very bottom, and you're going to see Edit here. When I tap on Edit, I have the option to set what I want to include in my start page. So maybe I don't want to include the privacy report. I just want to take that out. So I just tap on it to turn that off. But what I would like to do is include frequently visited. Tap on that, and now that is going to show me my frequently visited websites. I also would like to turn off suggestions. Tap on that and it'll turn it off. And if I wanted to add a background image, I could do that as well. I tap on this. I select the image. We're going to go with this one here. Has to download it. And then once it downloads it, it's going to add that as the background image for that startup page. So now let's see what we have here. It's no longer going to have the privacy report, and it's going to have a different background image here. So now I close this, and you're going to see it has a background there, and I no longer have that privacy report. So that's how we can customize our startup page. And basically, this is the page that shows up when you open up a new blank tab. You don't go to a specific website. So again, I go over here to my tabs. I tap on the plus to add a new tab. Instead of going to a website, what it's going to do is it's going to go to that startup page. And then from here, I'm able to select from my favorites. I can go and select from my reading list. I can select from recently closed tabs and even tabs on my other devices. And we can easily customize this just by swiping all the way down to the bottom and tapping on Edit. So that's how we can customize a start page for Safari. So those are some of the utilities, or what I would call utilities, that we have available to us in Safari on the iPhone. So that is how we can browse the internet with Safari on the iPhone. As you can see, we can do quite a bit with it. And Safari on my personal phone, I showed you all this on my demo phone, but on my personal phone, it is my preferred browser. I don't use any other browser. I basically use Safari, even on my Mac and iPhone, because as you can see, it can do quite a bit. And even though you're limited to a smaller display with the iPhone, we have a lot of the same features that we do on the Mac. We can open up windows in new tabs, as an example. We can search our history. We can even manage our bookmarks. We can hide distracting items, all with Safari on the iPhone. So that's how we browse the internet with Safari on the iPhone. Now, if you found this video helpful, what you may want to do is like the video. You can share it with your friends and family. You can subscribe to my channel. It all helps. But in addition to that, you may want to check out danstutorials.com. In addition to having more videos, I also have an AI assistant modeled after an Apple Genius, and I host classes and webinars on a regular basis. So how can you help support my efforts? Well, it is a membership-based site. When you become a member of the site, I take out all of the ads of the videos, so you're not going to see any of those pesky ads. You have access to my AI assistant, modeled after an Apple Genius, and you have access to my classes and webinars. In addition to that, you're also helping support a small business. It is just me in a corner office of my house. I'm not part of some large organization. So when you become a member, you are directly supporting my efforts in creating these videos. Check out danstutorials.com for more information, and thanks for watching.